Welcome to Spirit Behind the Screen. Each episode, your host, Marti McCurdy, deep dives on industry trends around high-reliability electronics and the supply chain in aerospace and defense. This is episode 65 with Spirit SMT Engineering Manager Brendan Courtney on our automated circuit card assembly line.
Hi, this is Marti McCurdy with Spirit Electronics in our podcast today, Behind the Screen. I am super excited to talk to one of our new employees, Brendan Courtney. Brendan, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Great. Just relax, nothing to worry about. It'll be fun. No, I appreciate you coming in. You've joined us as a SMT engineering manager on our new CCA line, or our replaced CCA line, maybe I should say. So give us a little bit of history on how you got here. I know you have a lengthy 30-year career, so I know you started when you were 5. So.
Yes, that's right. So I kind of fell into the industry, started working for SCI, big contract manufacturer in New Hampshire, and they were offering to train you as an operator and give you component ID training and run a Fuji machine. So that's what I did, and I never left.
Amazing. How long were you there?
I was at SCI for a year.
Gotcha.
And then I went to Digital Equipment, which is no longer around, but they were part of the Alpha chip development that later became an Intel chip. So that's kind of interesting. And then I've worked for Celestica, Jabil, Flextronics, Hadco, many tier ones. A lot of big customers, Raytheon, Cardinal Health, is medical, SpaceX, Tesla.
Nice.
Many big corporations like that.
Well, we certainly welcome all of that experience to come here to Spirit because, as you know, we're in the A&D space and we strictly stay there. We don't really venture too far off of that. We have done some EV work here in the Bay. In the Valley because we are here physically, right? So you've been here long enough now to kind of know that we do, small runs, pilot runs, or prototyping work, but we also can do what our customer deems, large production runs, which if we're lucky, it's 50 boards, 100 boards, how many do you need on a satellite, a constellation, right? Not too many. But I think you and I have spoken that we want the line to run 24/7. So that's our goal.
Absolutely.
But the big ones, Flex, Sanmina, all Jabil, all those guys, they have multiple lines. We're very dedicated to the customer base we serve. So do you see any challenges? I know we've already spoken about another line here. So any challenges, running multiple lines or, any kind of keeping up with the Joneses, if you will?
Sure. It's if it's a high mix of NPI and production, NPI takes a little more time for process development, where production, we already know what we're doing. We already have the fixturing, tooling, processes are laid out. We can kind of hit the road running, but with NPI, it's all process development work. It's all new tooling. It's validation of that tooling, validation of screen printers, screen printer programs, SMT programs, validation of those PDs. So, and more importantly, at the end of that, the reflow oven profiling is extremely important to capture what the components are seeing through reflow. So we know we're not overheating anything, and we know we're in the specs for the solder paste and any thermally sensitive components.
Fabulous. I think some of the jobs we've looked at, some of the challenges that anybody faces, but, talk to me about the difficulties or the design for manufacturing issues, right? DFMs, like all these press fits and all these interesting parts, like the sensors we looked at today and things.
Sure. You can certainly get into some of the boards that are very complicated, very copper intensive. That'll be challenging from a profiling perspective, especially if you have some components that have a maximum temperature. So capturing those sensitive parts against what you have to do for the bigger parts that are grounded it's a balance of getting those profiled and validating we're not hurting anything on the board, but we're still within the requirements of the solder paste and the parts.
Mm-hmm. I know one of my pet peeves is when I see voids in other people's work. And we have all the tools here to check for voiding, but really you are a stickler on voids and eliminating or not having voids,
right?
Period.
Sure. Voiding is usually 99% in the profile. And if we can't get out of the profile, I usually start to suspect that the board is outgassing or the parts are contaminated. There's a lot of crusty parts out there, so sometimes they give you a problem. So I know right where to go as far as getting control of voiding.
Yes, and I think one of the other luxuries you've brought us also is, two things that are always a little bit of a hurdle sometimes to get good boards built and delivered to our customer base who, have to be exceptionally perfect. It isn't like they're going into kids' toys, right? One of them is the quality of what you call fab. I call them FR4 boards, but basically the raw board. So there's a lot of really intricate details that you look at in
Sure.
that perspective.
Yeah, typically for new boards, I'm looking at the layers to see, where my ground planes are, what parts are thermally challenged. BJ is a good example. I had a board recently that half the BJ was sitting on ground and the other half wasn't. And I had profiled one ball on each side, and I had a 25-degree delta on the same part just between two spheres on the BGA. So the importance of that and capturing that is you could have cold solder on one side thinking you're good because you just happen to hook up the ball that's not thermally challenged. So it's just another check that I do to ensure that we're going to be good through reflow.
Great. I appreciate that for sure. When you do the whole vertical like we do here at Spirit, from the big lift we do is an electrical test, and we always call them the walking wounded, right? We can do board level test, or some people refer to that as system level test. That's when you find these things, right? Mm-hmm. They work when you're in this environment, it's 70 degrees and everything's perfect and you're indoors and all that. But the minute that there's a thermal, escalation, or you're flying it, or you're drilling it, or something in the application, that's where these faults come up. So that's where field failures are a pain.
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about Spirit too, is we're a one-stop shop. So, normally I'd have to send something out for evaluation where I don't have to here. We have it right here on site. Quick results. I don't have to tell the customer they have to wait 3 days, and we get these lab results back. So it's a great way to be and things to have in front of us so we can be a full service shop.
Yes, I hear it's because I'm a control freak that we have it all, but I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm. I can't confirm or deny that.
Not yet anyway, right? Well, I know that, sometimes we catch the craziest things, right? So you get a part in here from, one of our suppliers, let's say TI, and it needs lead trim and form. And we can look at the part and realize that what they have from a pad to pad, spacing or pitch isn't going to work with the fab of the board that you see, right? So all of these things we can kind of catch in the beginning of the process. So it's helpful for us.
Yeah, I really like the gold mitigation side of things that we do here for our customers and for ourselves, which is part of J Standard. So we can do that here for ourselves, for our customers, and then we can do it for other companies. So,
yeah. I know that we have some FA capabilities here, and a strong FA engineer that she's ready to cut up a few of your boards whenever you're ready.
That's right.
To evaluate our work.
Keeps asking me every day.
You're like, no, these are sold. Let's talk a little bit about, everybody has to have some reason to get out of bed every day to come to work. So what is the joys you find if you're in it for 30 years and you're still smiling and still, invigorated to go on that line every day that I see you over there? What drives you?
Yeah, it's hard to stay away from the floor. Honestly, I don't think there's a level I'd be at, director, even a VP, where I don't want to be on the production floor. It's just kind of where everything's happening. I like to solve problems. one of those weird people that likes pressure. So if I know I have a week to do something, I typically wait till the last day because I like that pressure.
Let me note that down.
But I like to solve problems for people. And, it's not just board build, it's the back end, and it's hand soldering something that can't be put through the process. It's mechanical assembly. It's torque drivers and case up and cabinet build. I mean, there's a lot going on. So I like that hustle and bustle of the production floor.
Yeah, well, I certainly am glad you're here because we sit in this very unique space. I know that, the big Jables and Flex and all them do as well, but I think we're a little bit more unique is that a lot of companies, I'll use Intel because they're here locally, but we get a lot of applications for employment from Intel, let's say, and they come in and they don't really understand what we do, although they've been in the business for 10, 20 years. It's because all they do is processors, right? Or Micron. All they do is memory, right? These kinds of things. And really the joy that we have, and sometimes the frustration, but the joy we have is we have to be able to manage what walks in the door.
Sure.
Right? And whether it's, a Xilinx component or a TI component or somebody's, we don't even know who that is. We have to figure out, how do we test it? How do we do reliability on it? How do we do environmentals on it? Now we have to figure out, how do we get it on a board? How do we put it on a board and walk through this whole process? So every day the job changes.
That's right.
It's never the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been doing this a long time, and I still haven't seen everything. I still see something new quite often. So it's a bit of an Easter egg you find every day and new challenges. So it's fun for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's fun for me too still.
Yeah. I like to be a trainer too. So definitely like to bring people up and share of information. And I like training people and making them the best they can be.
Yeah, I like it. I believe you guys just did some training here at Spirit. You just completed with the team a couple things. Just to give me an update.
We just got through J Standard 001 training. We just did training on the SMT machine, training on all the machines actually out there. We've got quite a bit of capability we've just brought on board. So the SMT machine, BGA rework machine, and a water wash machine. So all that is everybody's being trained on and documented the process. So
excellent. And I believe you have AOI as well?
AOI as well. That's right. So there's nothing we can't do.
And I think I've seen your name on a few recs. You bought us a few more pieces that haven't shown up yet.
That's right. That's right. So we have a part counter X-ray machine coming in. That's going to be fun. It's going to make the work in the stockroom really easy and accurate. So. And it also has regular X-ray capability. It's a little limited, but we can also use that outside of our X-ray that we have on the production floor. So
excellent. Yep, I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Is there, looking at the current specs that we use and we have? I know you and I have spoken about the NASA spec, and that looks like it's being adopted over to J Standard now, or IPC, which we'll have to figure out if that's really where the NASA spec is headed, but. Is there any other certifications that you have that you bring to the table?
Sure. I've because I've worked for a lot of the tier ones, so we do a lot of in-house greenbelt training, in-house IPC training. So there's a lot of avenues to get, say, your IPC 610 cert. You can go through, local places. You can do it on site. If you want to be a green belt, you can go through ASQ, or you can do it in-house, which is what a lot of the Jables and the Flextronics do.
Yeah, they have a lot of employees to train up.
Thousands, yes.
Yes, exactly. Well, I certainly appreciate you being on the show today. Is there any last comments that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I'm excited to start CCA line here at Spirit. I think it's a great opportunity for me to make my mark with the company, get things going. And, I think some people will be surprised how dialed in we are, but that's because we have a great team here.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be a part of it.
Thanks. I'm certainly welcome you on the team. You're a great ad. I know that everywhere we go, people go, I didn't know you did that. You can tell them 9 times out of 10, they won't listen. It's only the 10th time when they need that particular piece of engineering skill that they go, oh, you do that?
Yeah.
Yes, I've known you for 20 years. We do that. It's always the same.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today
you.
on our podcast Behind the Screen. And we welcome you as our new employee who has been here a month.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Fabulous.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Brendan Courtney with Spirit Electronics and Marty McCurdy signing off.
Thanks for listening with Spirit this week. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast to let us know what you want to hear about in aerospace and defense. You can find out more about Spirit's value-added services and product lines at spiritelectronics.com.